Hello everyone. Today we're going to be looking at a model frontal attack in the game between Matsuo and Tanaka Yuichi, which took place on June 4th, 2019 in the 69th Osho tournament. Let's begin. It looks like white will head into a Gangi type formation against black's Hayakuri game, but due to the position of the gold on 7-8, he had another idea in mind. 4-2 rook. Why would white do this? In static versus range and rook openings, the static rook side's left gold is usually placed on the right side of the king. White is trying to exploit this misplacement, and I put misplacement in quotes, by moving the rook towards the weakened side. On the other hand, why might the gold on 7-8 not be so bad? With castles like the Silver Crown, Millenium, and Anaguma, the gold is placed in this position. Given enough time, black will be able to complete a normal castle. Further following this line of thought, this means that in order for white to successfully carry out his idea, he would need to initiate play probably on the left side of his board very quickly in order to stop black from solidifying. In the game, he failed to do this. All that said, I'm not even sure it's possible. Instead of 7-2 silver, 5-4 silver would be an attempt to generate quick play, but it ends up backfiring. A 3-8 rook. This move is a well-known counter to 5-4 silver, aiming to get a pawn in hand, and sometimes even attack the silver when it goes to capture one of the pawns. And now if he plays 4-5 pawn, he can just exchange, hitting the knight. This is very good for black. And instead of 4-5 pawn, if 7-6 silver, just 3-5 pawn. Again, good for black. And if he takes the other pawn, 5-6 silver, 3-5 pawn. If pawn takes, rook just recaptures. If 4-5 pawn, he just exchanges and 3-4 pawn. Very good for black. In the game, he played 7-2 silver. Black has strategic victory. He completed an ideal Millenium castle without any resistance at all. It's much more solid than white's castle, and he can aim for light sabaki on the right-hand side of the board. His bishop on 6-6 is also well placed for a frontal attack, and can even go to 5-7 in order to aid play on the right-hand side. Even worse for white, the pawn on 8-5 is overextended. It's clear that white had to do something in order to hinder black's play much earlier. And now 2-4 pawn, aiming to create weaknesses in white's camp so he can drop his rook effectively. If the pawn is captured, then 2-3 pawn. And if 3-3 bishop, aiming to get a pawn in hand. And notice the pawn is pinned. And if 6-5 lance, this is very good for black. His castle is very, very solid, so he can just sack the bishop. He's going to end up recouping some of the material later on. Instead of 3-3 bishop, if the silver captures, then just 4-2 rook. So in the game he played 2-8 rook. White managed to stop black's initial wave of attack at the cost of passively dropping his rook, but now the second wave builds up its swell before crashing forward. What follows is a model example of a frontal attack. Now if black plays 4-2 rook, then white can just respond with a pawn anchor. This is solid and black hasn't made immediate gains. Instead of that, he played 8-6 pawn. And as black has a pawn in hand, and his bishop is positioned for it, he goes straight for a frontal attack on the 8th file and on the edge. If pawn takes pawn, you get this pawn wedge. Trying to lend a hand to the defense, but this gets cut off with 5-5 pawn. And I'll pass a move just to show black's threat. It's just 6-1 rook. If he tries to attack the rook like that, winning for black. And instead of 9-3 pawn, if he tries to play 9-4 pawn, black has a very strong move with 9-3 pawn. If the king takes, then just 5-2 rook, forking the gold and the silver. If the silver takes, if gold takes, then just 5-2 or 4-2 rook. If 7-3 king, then 8-5 knight mates, so 7-1 king. And then white's going to get mated soon. So instead of gold takes, if the king takes, then check this way. If 9-2 king, it's winning for black. And if 7-3 king, then just take the knight, also winning for black. If knight takes, then just 9-4 lance and the attack continues. So in the game he played 2-9 dragon. 8-4 pawn will come next. So with some pawns in hand, he can go for an edge attack. The 8-5 square is open for the knight, and the pawn wedge on 8-4 looms dangerously over the king. This ends up disrupting white's castle shape, and after exchanges, black will have a chance to enter his rook using the weaknesses that are created. Calm build up. And now if 8-5 pawn, just 9-4 pawn. And if he takes the lance, you can just take the knight and then promote here, opening up the way for the bishop. And if 7-5 pawn, also good for black. In the game he played 8-7 pawn. And now he could simply take back with the silver. Black's advantage is huge and isn't going anywhere. And instead of that, Matsuo just went straight for an attack. 8-3 pawn promote. Just too many weaknesses around the king. Attacking from the back and the front. Notice that it's very easy to attack without stopping when the king is safe. At this point, losing the silver on 8-8 doesn't matter at all. Instead of that, 8-2 rook promote also won, but from a technical standpoint, what Matsuo did was much better. By taking with the lance, he ends up clearing the way for the bishop, so it ends up being a lot quicker. And after this, white resigned. If 9-5 king, king takes. Mate. If 8-6 king, mate. And if 8-5 king, mate. And instead of 9-5 king, if he takes the horse, go all the way up, and then mate. This attack could have been an example in a textbook. Thank you for joining me today. Any questions or comments can be left down below. If you learned something from this, please give the video a like. Remember to subscribe and let others know about this channel. If you'd like to further support the channel with donations, you can do so by clicking on the Streamlabs link in the description. Donations are not necessary, but are always welcome. I'll see you guys later. Bye.